No?
Hello, everybody out there. We are going to get ready to get started here in just a few. We'll wait a few minutes to have some people jump on here before we play the intro music. It is me. I'm here with Sherry right now.
Yay. Yay.
We're still waiting on Mary. I don't know where the hell she's at. I think that maybe she thought that it was 6 o'clock, even though I expressly told everybody that that was only because I had to film an episode, and it was the only time that Jeff was available was from 4 to 5. So I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to make it. I didn't want to short. Yeah. I didn't want to shortchange. That's what I was looking for. You guys here on the live. So we scheduled it for 6 o'clock so that we could make sure that we got everything in and there wasn't any conflicts. So this will be the regularly scheduled time when we do our live recaps every other week. We'll come on here at 5 p.m. Because it works better for everybody that way. If we're here at 5, and then we'll go until we're done. And whether that's an hour, 7 hours, hopefully not 7 hours.
Well,
but
you don't have to go to work.
Yeah. So we'll see. Like I said, we'll give Mary a couple minutes to hop on here. We'll see where she's at. I've already sent her a message, and she hasn't been on Facebook in 5 hours. So really? I don't know where she's at.
I hope she's okay.
She might be sleeping.
It's not that late there, right?
I'm not sure. I don't know I think it's like 6 hours, six hours difference. So it might be like 9 or 10 o'clock there.
Oh, that's not that late.
Yeah. I don't know what time she goes to bed.
Go to bed?
That's a good question.
We don't go to bed, especially Dr. Queen, right?
Yeah. So how have you been this week, Sherry?
It was busy. Thanksgiving.
How was Thanksgiving?
Well, I had COVID, so we had
plans to
stay home. So yeah, it was good. It was, good. As long as you're standing upright, you're okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I got to make turkey. Oh wait. So I do 18-6. I don't know. I've told you that I fast for 18 hours and I eat 6 hours, right? So it's really been good. And I went and bought cornmeal to make corn muffins, and I didn't have any flour. Oh my God! So I actually made gluten-free cornbread. Have you ever?
Oh wow!
Without flour, you have to get used to it. So for all the gluten-free people out there, usually like baked Lay's potato chips are gluten-free. It takes some getting used to. So yeah, I don't know how. It was okay.
Yeah, when all of that gluten-free stuff takes a little while to get used to. It is never easy. What in the hell? Apparently, I don't have all that on my iPad. I was like looking on my iPad. I was going to pull up the YouTube feed, but apparently I don't have that on my laptop.
Why?
Or not on my laptop, on my this thing. Okay, there we go.
What did you guys do? Did you stay home? What did you go to family?
No, we stayed home and just kind of hung out. There was no family involved, which was kind of nice.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. I love family, don't get me wrong. But back in the day when I was a kid, oh my God.
Yeah, sometimes it's nice to forego the family for a little while and just enjoy time at home. All right. Well, we are going to get started here because we're almost 5 minutes in, and we'll get started. We'll see what the hell is this? Oh, somebody sent me a thing for some full Dragon Ball Z film, and I've never been into Dragon Ball Z. It's not one of my things, but not my
Pokemon.
thing. I can't do it, man. I'm not the anime guy. All right, I'm gonna press play on the intro. We'll get started, and then we'll get right into it, and we'll go from there.
My mic was muted. Can you hear me?
I also muted my own mic while we were so nobody heard any of that shit that I just said. That's good because that's so funny. Anyway, while I played the intro, I muted everybody's mic because we're all grabbing things and doing stuff and moving around. Jesus. All right. Well, I'm Jeff, and you are here with us live, or whenever you decide to view this. We are live. This is our bi-weekly recap episode, and we're going to talk about Gacy and Guevara and Bill Dorsch, and then we'll talk about all kinds of other things that are going on in the world of true crime. Like, what are you doing, Sherry?
Do anything. All of a sudden, I see. Wow, I have a hat. I'm getting used to this.
All right. Well, we've got Sherry here with us. I don't know where Mary is. Mary is somewhere in the ether, hanging out with the fairies there in Scotland. I don't know where she's at. Usually she messages me about 6 times on a day when we're going live, and I got no messages from her today. So I don't know if she thinks it's at 6 o'clock, even though 2 weeks ago we said that it was going to be at 5 o'clock. But we're going to do our best to make fun of her as much as possible until she either shows up or she watches this later and then yells at me. One of the two. It'll be good either way.
All right. So she must be with the D. That's why she...
Oh, man.
I'm sorry, man.
So, ain't nothing wrong with that, So last week, we actually had currently episode 5, digging into Gacy and Guevara with William Dorsch, has been our highest viewed episode ever, right?
Really?
It is just shy of 100 views currently. We're only 5 episodes in, so we are for sure growing as a podcast and growing in subscribers, and it takes some time, right? I was under no illusions that this was going to be, we were going to have 1,000 subscribers in 3 weeks or anything. It takes time, and we're still learning and figuring it out here. However, we got, I think, 36 subscribers currently, and we've got nearly 100 views on episode 5. So there are at least 60 plus people out there who have not subscribed. So make sure that you go and subscribe and like and share and comment and all of that bullshit, because that is how we get to a place where we're monetized and we have sponsors and people want to get on there and, send us money to continue doing this show. And what's that?
I want food. Food, but I don't have it. Gum, right? All kinds of good stuff for Jeff. Jeff,
that's right.
Do you have do you have something that they can send to if they want to join your whatchamacallit, the true crime community. They want to
Oh yeah, for sure. If you go and subscribe and do all that stuff, you can also message me, and I'm the one, right? I answer all the messages. So
absolutely.
hit me up and let me know what's up out there. Stay involved. Let us know if there's stuff that you want us to cover, and different cases or people that maybe have been part of things. We like to stay on kind of the alternative side of things and talk about some of the stuff that isn't commonly talked about. I don't want to become one of those podcasts where I just rehash the same old fucking story over and over again. Everybody has heard about, Dahmer and Gacy and Bundy, and I just don't want to rehash the same story. However, there are aspects of that story that I feel like need to be told that are not highlighted, or that are, maybe not commonly put out there, right? And I think that those have value, and I think that we need to look at those, and I think it puts a new spin on things. So those are the things I want to do. That's kind of why we brought Bill Dorsch on. He has a very unique view of the Gacy case, and he was a homicide detective for many, many years, and he really, he went out there and was on the street, right, doing all the interviews and contacting all of these people. And so his insight is really invaluable. And Bill has already hit me back up. We're going to have him back on probably pretty soon, actually. So we've already been talking about doing some more, and at least doing another episode. He's got many, many more cases that he has been part of and that he would like to talk about. And so we're going to talk about those things. And I think a lot of it, with his upcoming book on Govera, and he's also got a documentary that's coming out about the Govera case. And so I think that we can really get a bunch of things in there leading up to that all being released. And, we can talk about that. So, Sherry, what'd you think of the episode?
I have some questions. Now,
okay.
He was a Chicago detective on the street, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now I know he's in Chicago. Their machine is very, I'm not going to say corrupt, but it was very back then. I'm sure, I don't want to say that it still is like that. How many years did he put in before he realized that he wasn't getting anywhere? Like, he wanted to take this a step further and do his own research and his own investigations, because the way I heard from him, and he was a wonder, he spoke very well. He didn't get the results that he wanted, so he pretty much left. He retired from Chicago, and then to do his own research and whatnot. He said that he put away 40 people. Am I correct? Like, being going on the stand. Did I read that right?
So yeah, he was so Bill was a Chicago homicide detective. Okay. He did that for 20 plus years, I believe. When all the things were happening around Govera, and Ronaldo Govera was also became a homicide detective. He was not when Bill was there, but he ended up moving up the ranks pretty quickly. But Govera was doing some really, really shady shit.
Okay.
And Bill was there to watch it. He saw it happen, and Bill started really questioning things. Right. And he was questioning the procedures and what the higher ups were telling him that he needed to do. He felt like it wasn't right. And so he was starting to kind of impede some of the cases. I believe, I don't know that I'm exactly correct here. And Bill, if you watch this, let me know if I've gotten this wrong, because I may. But I believe that while all that was going on, it was just kind of building up. And he decided at that point that it was time to pack it up and retire, because he was not finding the results that he wanted. Okay. There were cases that were happening that he saw clear misconduct, and the fact that Govera was pinning things on people,
Right.
And so then later on, what happens is some of these cases start coming up. And now there are several people that have been in prison for 20 plus years because Govera has gotten them convicted. And when those trials came up, Bill Dorsch was one of the witnesses for the defense. And so he would come in there and speak out against the Chicago Police Department. And he ended up becoming a whistleblower at that point. And he was out there and he's done 40 some odd cases that were specifically Govera's, people that he put in prison for different things. And, so there's been a lot of people that have been exonerated because of all of that. But while that was all happening, they were putting more and more pressure on Bill, and he ended up leaving the country. So he does not live in the U.S. anymore.
Oh, okay. What I found intriguing and mind-blowing was the fact that they would go and they would ask somebody on the street, listen, we need you for a lineup, bring him in for a lineup, and then the next thing you know, now they're charged with murder. I mean, wow, that blew my mind. And now this guy who was never even guilty is now going to jail for life because he murdered somebody, which he never did. They needed to escape. I found that to be just crazy. I never would have thought of that in my whole life. So,
one of the reasons why Govera moved up so fast and he had gotten promoted is because his close rate on cases was so much higher than other detectives, right? Other cops. And, we now know that the reason for that is because he was, doctoring all of this, that he was putting people in prison. He had no idea who had actually done it. And, now do we know, we don't really know why he was doing that. Like, was the motivation just simply, he wanted to close more cases, have a better, rating? Or was there other nefarious things going on? Was there money in play? Was he trying to keep other people out of prison? So, like, we don't know that. Like Bill mentions in the during the podcast, he mentioned some other cops that had gotten convicted and put away for drug charges and all kinds of illegal money stuff. And so we don't know how much involvement Govera had in those things. So was he also part of that? He's never been named in anything. He still has never been brought to trial for anything, right? So it's wild to think about that, that there's this cop out there that's literally just pinning murders on people and throwing them in jail for 20, 30 years.
The way he did it that's unnerving, who you trust. Now, when did they start the cases with Govera? Was it 80s?
I believe so. 80s, 90s. It was during that time period because it was after Gacy. Of course, Gacy was in the 70s. And it was after that because Gacy had nothing to do with Bill leaving the force. It was the Govera stuff that got him to go and retire. But yeah, I think that it was like 80s, 90s that all that was going on. And you gotta, one of the things that you have to realize too is that when all the Gacy stuff was happening, when all that investigating happened, years after Gacy was already arrested, even after he had died, when Bill was digging into that stuff, he really had become a thorn in the side of the Chicago Police Department. And so this is before a lot of the Govera stuff started. So like he was already kind of blacklisted when all that stuff started. So when he now becomes part of this and is starting to like question all of these other things that are going on, it just really kind of snowballs and becomes a real problem for him to continue to stay on, because there's all these people in power that are over him that are not looking favorable upon anything that Bill is doing. So, he's still really kind of blackballed.
I'm sure.
Yeah, because of, a lot of those things that he's talked about, the stuff that he continues to bring to light, the stuff with Gacy that he keeps bringing up and bringing more evidence. For those of you that get a chance to watch Defense Diaries and some of the lives that they've done, some of the interviews that Bill brings in there of him interviewing Gacy victims and Gacy family members and stuff that were victims' family members or potential victims' family members. The stories that they have to tell about all of that is incredible. You really need to listen to that and hear. And then some of the stories that they did also around the Guevara case, they brought in several people that were the people that were convicted and that spent 20 plus years in prison, and talked about all of the things that happened around the case and how they just got railroaded and there was nothing they could do, even though they had evidence that said that they weren't there and all this stuff, that they still put them in jail. It didn't matter. They had it out for them. And it's sad to see that kind of miscarriage of justice.
There are more, Gacy victims, right? Do I remember him talking about that in the podcast where he went to them and said there might be more and they didn't want to hear it?
Yeah.
So how many more do you think there are? Would you?
That's Gacy at one time said around 50 was one of the things that he said when they first arrested him. So, we get this 33, and he talked a lot about that later on. But we really don't know. We don't know the exact body count. I don't know that we'll ever know, because a lot of that property, unless you get the owner's consent, they don't want you to come to their apartment complex and dig up the yard. So, what'll end up happening, and this is what happened at the roller rink, right? There were 2 bodies that were found at the roller rink in the walls, which is exactly where Gacy was working, where he was throwing trash in the wall. He was doing all this stuff. And so there were bodies that were found there when they tore down the roller rink. So, and we don't know if those were actual Gacy victims or if they were from something else, because it was never really properly investigated. And so, it's a really strange case that is the truth, that there were 2 victims or 2 bodies that were found there in the roller rink, but that was one of the places that Gacy worked. It's long been believed that he buried bodies there, and they did find 2 of them. So, there's several other locations, right? The apartment building that was right there by where Bill lived, the apartment building that Bill lived in. There's also, if you go to Waterloo, there's the potential that there were bodies there, right? In Iowa, where he was staying before the official murders kind of began. We don't know. We know that he was arrested there, that he was molesting men there, that he was picking them up at the train station and all kinds of stuff. So the behaviors were very, very consistent with what happened later on when he was in Chicago, or in what do you call that? I can't think of the name of the town right next to it. But anyway, you know what I mean. When he was living in that area. So when he was in Waterloo, it was obvious that things were already happening. Now, whether he killed anybody when he was in Iowa, I don't know. But, there is speculation that that's possible. So there's places out there that they need to look at. There are places within Chicago proper that need to be looked at. But, why they don't want to clear that out, why they don't want to go back there, and it's really sad because, not it would make a lot of people look bad. But there's families that still don't know what happened to their loved ones during that time period that went missing and never came home. You
Mm.
know, were those people actually Gacy victims? Were they victims of, Michael Rossi or David Cram, who have never been, even questioned about that? Of course, Cram killed himself, but Rossi is still alive. Apparently lives down in Florida. He spent time in prison for other things, but never anything dealing with the stuff in Chicago. So, I don't know. It's crazy that there is still so much out there, and there's still stuff that Bill has. He told me that today when we were messaging back and forth. He said we could talk more about Gacy. There's a ton of stuff that hasn't even been discussed. That's not even part of the book that he wrote. So I'd be interested to even hear that.
Exactly, and nobody wants to listen to that. Why? I'm
No.
curious why. I guess it's
I think there's a lot of answers. I think a lot of people just want to bury it and they want to forget about it. But those people that their families that potentially, may have lost loved ones, they have never forgotten about it, right? That has never ended for them. And so to just bury it, seems wrong, right? It should be that we look until the very last point. But, there's a lot of things with that that don't sit right with a lot of people. And I think that there needs to be more investigation, but I think they're afraid of what they're going to find.
What about his family? He had a son and a daughter, right?
Yeah, I think so.
They just changed.
I don't. Yeah, I don't think they want to have anything to do with it. They want to separate as much as possible from that.
I don't blame.
I forget who it was. I think somebody just recently told me. I think it was Gacy. When I was at the show in Minneapolis this weekend, somebody mentioned to me that their brother or something went to school with Gacy's son.
I mean, they didn't do anything.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it had nothing to do with them. They weren't. It's probably not good that I just smacked the microphone. Sorry, guys.
Well,
I hit it with my ear. I moved it so close. I'm not used to it being right there now.
It shows you're human.
Right? Yeah. Well, I guess there's a lot of things I do that show that.
You're a good guy. What? As soon as Gacy's wife found out she divorced him, I think that's what.
No, she divorced him beforehand.
Oh, she
did. She didn't know. She had, I guess the thing that really caused their divorce, his second wife, the reason why they got divorced is Gacy told her that he wasn't interested in her anymore.
Oh.
He didn't want to have sex with her at all. He was not interested in a physical relationship with her. She knew that he was seeing men, and she knew that there was a lot of gay porn around the house. And so even though Gacy said that he was bisexual up until the day that he died, he was obviously not interested in women. Okay. It was not something that was his interest. He had told his wife that they were done, that they could be roommates basically. And she said, I'm not interested in that. And that's when she left him.
Okay.
So, but for a while, it was her, his mom, and Gacy all living in the house together, and the kids, right? And so then when they divorced, she moved out, took the kids, and then it was Gacy and his mom. And then he moved the mom over to the apartment complex where Dorsch saw them, right? So he knew the apartment building that she was living at later on. And I was actually going to go to that apartment. I may stop up there this weekend because I'll be in Chicago this weekend.
Definitely go there. You should really do some kind of video. But you know what? I'm always making fun, and I really don't want people to think that all I do is sit here and just make fun of people that have been succumbed to these horrific crimes, so I'm trying not to make fun of anything.
Yeah.
Is it Rufferman? Who's the guy in Long Island? Same kind of thing. Serial killer.
Oh, Rex Hewerman.
Yeah, Hewerman.
Yeah.
The wife has been with him for how long? She never even realized anything in the basement. I wonder, I'm not saying that she knew anything, but how do you put a blind eye to that?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think it's really difficult. But you got to know that there's something weird happening. But at the same time, if they're trying to hide that, you always try to pass it off. Like, especially if you're like super old school, you don't believe in divorce and stuff like that. So you're trying to, not push the issue because, you fell in love with that person. You want to be with them. You want to think the best. But they have this whole other side that you're not a part of. And I think what happens a lot of times is these people that do that, they really segment their lives, right? They don't act that way at home. They may be an asshole, they may be angry and stuff like that, but they limit that away from that person that keeps the stability in their life. And they go and they have that secret side. Same thing happened with BTK, right? His wife didn't know. His daughter didn't know. But he kept that completely separate. That was his own little secret. He went out there, and I think it's very similar to Hewerman or with Gacy, right? He tried to keep it to himself until he couldn't anymore. And Gacy is the case where, he just couldn't. It was just so present in his life. He was picking up these men all the time. He had them working for him. They were always at the house. Right. So he couldn't hide it anymore. But like Hewerman obviously did. And then if you look at Richard Cottingham is another one up in New York, also in New York, New Jersey area. He was the torso killer. And he was another one that he kept his life completely separate, where he was going and he was, taking all these prostitutes and stuff and killing them and cutting them in half and, burning some of them. And, but he kept his life completely separate from his family that had no idea what he was doing. So, it's really interesting how they can really compartmentalize all of those things in their life.
Yeah. I don't know, but if I had kids, well, I do have kids, but my daughter would be, what are you doing, Dad? What are you doing, Dad? Where are you going, Dad? What's down the stairs, Dad? What's in that? I mean, you haven't quit. How are you getting away with that? Don't go in that room. All you would have to do is say, don't go in that room. The minute somebody says, even for me, somebody says, don't go in there. Where do you think I want to go? I want to go there.
Yeah.
And
I think the thing that's interesting is a lot of those guys, especially the men anyway, are pretty strict disciplinarians.
Okay.
And their family knows, like, if they say this, you don't want to pay that consequence, right? Okay. And so, like, you'll talk to the kids later on and they'll be like, oh, I know that's a no-no. If I do that, if I was to do that, there would be a lot of problems, and I just don't want those kind of problems. So even if their curiosity is piqued, that ass whooping that they're going to get keeps them away.
Okay. All right. What happens if they're doing wash? I mean, there's so many questions. He did his own wash. Where did you put the clothes? You don't want him to go into that specific room, or I don't know. I just have like those, how do you live in the same house? And I
think with Hewerman, at least, the majority of the time that he was doing things, his wife was away.
Okay.
She left a lot, right? And that's the same thing with Gacy. A lot of the time when they were all living together, the wife was away. She was going and staying with her mom and doing stuff. And that would be the time that he would he would bring in the men, he would kill them and bury them and everything. She was not home during those times. What?
No, it's like you go away, you go to your mom's for the weekend. 6 months later, when you finally find out about this, you're like, what the heck happened? I go away for a weekend and you're killing men.
Yeah,
And then did you eat them too?
it's crazy.
Costume on. Every time I think of Gacy, I equate the clown costume with the It movie. I don't know why.
It's funny because those two things happen at very similar times, right?
Yeah.
And it's always been a question. And now Stephen King stays as far away from it as possible. He says that Gacy did not influence his creation of Pennywise at all. At least that's his official statement. I don't believe that there's any possible way that all the stuff coming out about Gacy did not influence the mindset that he had while he was writing that. I don't believe that that's true. I think he just wants to distance himself away from because especially now, since King seems to want to be very political. He doesn't want anybody to look at him like he took ideas from the worst possible things in humanity. But the truth is that there wouldn't be any of those ideas if that stuff didn't happen, right? Even if you didn't use it specifically because of that, those are the things that influence us, especially when you're writing about horror or you have screenplays about horror movie monsters and stuff. All of those stories that we've heard all influence what we believe and how we look at all those things.
So I'm changing the subject for a minute only because, again, the clown. I know you're going to think that I'm wrong, which I totally probably am. But remember I told you my friend Scott's, they used the house for, what's that movie? Terrifier?
Oh, yeah.
You can't, I've never seen Terrifier, but I've seen clippings. That flip, I think he's a clown, right?
Yeah.
He scares the shit out of me. Just
Art the Clown.
Yeah, and you can't find that movie on cable, or I probably would have to find it on YouTube, right? Oh my God.
Well, you can stream it. There's a couple different places.
Really? Shit.
Yeah, you can. I think it's on Tubi right now, and that's a free streaming service. Yeah. I believe, actually, I'll tell you right now because I'll pull it up.
Him, Pennywise, Gacy, they're all, to me, they're all the same. And then wait, Clive Barker's the first movie. What's the first movie with Pinhead, right? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Okay. What was the first movie's name?
Can't
remember.
Oh my God. Hellraiser.
Okay. I love that movie. Boy, I have no idea. I equate them all at the same time, and I don't know why. Because, I remember a part in Hellraiser when whatever his name is, Pinhead, is that his name? He goes to the girl and he says something, and I almost felt like he had some humanity. I have no idea why, but I don't see humanity in any of the other ones.
Huh.
I don't see.
Yeah. So Terrifier is on Tubi. So if you want to go watch, it's on there.
Is it scary? Which is the scariest, or is it the goriest? The first one?
I mean, the second one is really gory.
Yeah.
The third one is really gory. Of course, the third one still, I think it just left the theaters. I think it's going to be for Christmas. I think it comes out on DVD. But anyway, the first one's good too. But they also have a couple other ones. So Art the Clown started out as a short on a compilation called All Hallows Eve.
Right.
And so he actually starts out there. I actually think it was even before that. There was another short called Terrifier that Art the Clown debuted at. But the first big thing was All Hallows Eve. And then you have the first Terrifier movie, and then the second, now the third, and there'll be a fourth. So, it's already worked on.
See, I've never seen any of them. And then my husband wanted to go see it. I'm like, oh, I don't want to see that. Then when I know Scott, he's like, oh, that was my house. And then he's like, I worked on this film. I'm like, what is it? And then he said Terrifier. And I'm like, what? And then I'm like, oh, this is disgusting. I have to watch it.
It is. It's really bad. I took my son to go see it in the movie theater. It was great. We had a great time.
Did he like it?
Oh yeah, he loved it. He was really freaked out. There's a scene in the third movie where they chainsaw somebody in half. It happens to be a guy, and his wiener flops out. And my son was freaking out when he cut his balls off.
Right? And that's in the movies too. And I'm surprised it wasn't rated X, because usually really super gore is rated X. But I guess
I think a lot of that stuff, the rating system has changed a good bit. And they've like backed off some of that stuff. But yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting movie for sure. And I like Damien. He's a good guy. And David's nice too. The guy that plays Art the Clown.
What does he look like? He like normal?
Oh yeah.
Normal, and you know what I mean? Like, is he quiet, or does he look like that? Does he have a big black nose and he looks like
No. He's a very, very, very normal looking guy. David is. He's kind of a goofball.
Is he really?
Really? Yeah, yeah. And he's very, very nice guy. I know this from other friends of mine, that he's very political too. He talks a lot of stuff. But I've always had a really, really good experiences with David. I've been at a bunch of conventions and hung out at the after party with him and Damien and had drinks with those guys. Very, very nice. Both of them are very down to earth. Even with all the success of the movies, they're now like the top grossing independent movie, I think, of all time.
I can't believe that. And just just being. I never even heard. Then again, how do you go by me when I never saw Goodfellas, right?
I know. Like, look at you.
I know.
Italian. Jeez.
Sorry, everyone.
Yeah, I know. All right. So getting back to episode 5. Now we're talking. I'll talk about more. But we've got. Well, let's do some of the trivia, since I've got a little bit of trivia here. So if you're watching out there live somewhere, you can answer in on the chat, and it'll be part of it. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to ping people. On. Oh shit. Well, here, let me see. I'm gonna
ping Cindy also. Mary, wherever you are, you're going down again. That's why you're no longer queen. You can have the crown, because when you get up there, you get kicked down really fast. So I don't want to be up.
I know it doesn't last long.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
Oh, she spells it with a Y or something.
So we have 3.
There she is.
How many cats do you have?
4.
You have 4. Do they all have their individual, attitudes? Mine are all sweet.
Mine are all really sweet. I mean, some of them get a little testy, but not too bad.
So there was somebody on Facebook who, in my town, what's really sad? It's like older people that go into a senior living facility, then they have to give up a cat or dog. So this little poor cat was 10 years old. So I looked at my husband and I'm like, So we were going to get number 4, but thank God somebody else took him. Yes. If you're watching. Yes. We were going to get number 4. Okay. Now,
I know.
They eat like pigs, by the way. How many litters do you have? And that's all I do. I think
3.
But I have 3, and they all go in the same. Only one. Okay.
We bought one of got one of the big like electric ones that.
Oh, you got that?
Does all? Yeah. I've got one of those. It's really nice. It worked. We've got the one called the Pet Snowy, and a bunch of them use that one. So.
But mine doesn't. I have one. My Nova. She's a tuxedo. She only likes this specific crappy litter, and that's not a funny joke. It's just like inexpensive litter, and if you give her anything else, she lets my husband know. She leaves.
Well, I've got one that if it's not clean, like spotless, she
Right.
won't even use it.
I don't blame her. So that's what I
Yeah,
do all day long. Disgusting.
that's funny. All right, well, we should probably get and actually do some trivia here. All right, so here we go. Question number 1, and some people can join in later. So, why did Bill write the book Omnipotent? Was it because he believed the Gacy story needed to be told? Was it because he believed the police department was corrupt? Was it because the government is godlike? Or was it because the cops were hiding things?
Okay, so A, I'm sure he believed. B, he definitely believed. But you're not taking down the Chicago Police Department by yourself. I think it's D. Mary.
So you believe the cops were hiding things? Okay.
Mm.
The answer here is, I'm sure he believed all those things, but the reason why he said that he wrote it is because the government is godlike.
You see, now I would not have believed that he would have said that, only because does he really believe that? We all know. I mean, like that statement is, it's fact, right? But okay,
Well,
I'm down.
Well, the reason why he says that is because he says that they believe that they can do whatever they want. Doesn't necessarily make it true,
Yeah,
but they have a God complex where they think that they can do whatever the hell they want, and that doesn't necessarily make it so. And they'll, yeah.
Okay.
All right. So what is the title of Bill's upcoming book?
Oh, all right. Give me 3, 4.
Is it The Evils of the System, Corruption Within, Justice Denied, or Wrongful Convictions?
Oh, and I actually, Bill, I actually watched your podcast, but I don't remember. I'm gonna think Wrongful Conviction, but I'm sure I'm wrong.
You are. You're 0 for 2. The actual answer is Justice Denied.
All right.
That's the upcoming book that in the podcast he says was going to be out hopefully by the end of November. That has not happened because I went on Amazon and looked for it because I wanted to pick up a copy because a buddy of mine said that he just picked up Bill's first book, Omnipotent, which consequently is sitting right here.
Now,
Omnipotent, don't ask, don't tell.
did he ever get? I don't think he brought this up, so I would like you to ask him. Has he gotten a lot of flack from the Chicago Police Department? And I don't mean just not talking to him, like underhanded stuff done to him. I know that he left the country, but like, you know what I mean?
Yes. The answer to that is yes.
Yeah.
They did some things and kind of came after him at one point, which is why he left.
Right.
So I don't know. Next time I have him on, I'll talk to him. We'll talk a little bit about that because they're, and when you have, somebody who is powerful and everything coming after you, it's that they can make life really miserable and make things really, really difficult for you. So, okay. Next question.
Let's try.
How many people did Govera put away wrongfully that were overturned?
40.
Was it 5, 12, 46, or 32?
Well, I thought he said 40, so I'm going to go with C, 46. But then again, it could be 32. All right, I'm going to say 46 because I remember him saying something about 40. Okay, go ahead. Yeah. Hello? Wait, did I mute myself? Oh shit.
No. I'm just messing with you.
Real funny. I almost
You are absolutely correct. It is 45 or 46 is what he said in the podcast. But you think of that, right? This is a guy who was there for 20, 30 years. And during that time, he's put away so many people, and at least 40 plus of those people have been exonerated. And you don't think that there's a problem?
there's a major problem. Did they sue the police department in Chicago?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, they-
A bunch of them have gotten money. Have gotten a bunch of money from the police department for being wrongfully convicted.
yeah.
You know, it's crazy.
Oh, I got one right. So I'm
Got one.
1 for 3.
All right. What did Bill say the answer was to the handcuff trick?
Oh, it was like a wise ass thing, right? You need a key or something. All right, give me A, B, C, and D. And I know because I remember him saying it. You need
I
the
don't
key?
have a. Is that your final answer?
Yeah. Right? Yeah.
Absolutely, that is correct.
Yeah. Yeah,
what Bill said is that he when Gacy brought out the cuffs,
right.
and he looked at him and he said, I've been to the academy. We used to put each other in that all the time. We put each other in handcuffs all the time. The trick is you got to have the key. That's the only way to get out. So he looked at him and said, John, put that away. And then consequently, at some point, Gacy brought out a gun
Right.
and showed Bill the gun. And Bill said, man, I have my service weapon with me. He was like, I don't pull that out around people. He was like, put that away, John. So just really, really strange that, you know, Gacy was trying to ingratiate himself with Bill that way.
Yeah.
And, you know, I guess it's kind of common, you know, to think that, you know, well, like, you know, you're a cop. You must you must love firearms and stuff. Let me show you what I got. And I think he was trying to do that as kind of a friendly thing. But we also know that there seemed to be points where Gacy was trying to get Bill and to get him alone and to maybe do something to him. So, you know, you know, what is this whole thing about you want to put him in the handcuffs and, you know, you want to do all these different things? You know, he tried to get Bill to come back over and it just never happened. It never worked out. Thankfully for Bill, you know. Now, here's another one on the Gacy side of things. Did Bill ever think Gacy was doing anything wrong? Yes or no?
I don't. No. I don't think he did. I'm going to say no.
That's good because that's correct. He did not at the time believe that anything was going on. He was in the house. He was never really friends with Gacy. He knew Gacy. Gacy knew him. They saw each other around town, but they never really became friends, is what he said. But he never really got any feeling that he was doing anything wrong. Even when he saw him with the shovel at 3 o'clock in the morning, he just thought it was weird. But he never like felt like, man, he's got to be burying bodies until after he was arrested. And he said, holy shit, that must have been what he was doing.
Oh, God.
So, you know, it's interesting. Okay, here's one that's a little bit more difficult.
Okay.
What Gacy employee already had a homicide charge?
Oh.
Was it Michael Rossi, Robert Paskey, David Cram, or Robin Gecht?
I'm going to guess with A. I don't remember that. Michael Ross.
You gotta pay more attention.
I know.
It was not Michael Rossi. Even though Michael Rossi plays a big part in this, if they would have looked in to the person, Robert Paskey was the one
I don't
that had already had a previous homicide charge. I believe, if I remember correctly, and I could be wrong on this, Paskey was also the one that was involved with the sex trafficking ring, and that was a guy, I can't remember his name to save my life, but that guy was also involved with Dean Coral. That was the one guy that that Gacy and Coral had in common. Now, we don't know that Gacy ever had any contact with this guy, but Paskey definitely did. So I believe that that was the one. It may have been somebody else, but I think that that was the name. Robin Gecht, oddly enough, was the head of the Chicago Ripper crew, who Robin also worked for Gacy for a time, but then he went on to do a whole bunch of crazy satanic rituals and kill a bunch of women and do all kinds of crazy stuff, which is interesting that this is another guy that also worked with Gacy, that he would end up doing that stuff and having his own little crew, which is crazy. Okay. This is the last question that I have that I pulled out. So we'll see. Why did Rossi become a witness rather than a defendant? Was it because he gave evidence against Gacy? Was it because Gacy never mentioned him at all? Was it because Rossi was scared? Or was it because his grandfather was Vito Marzullo?
I can't remember. D sounds really familiar. Hold on. Was it D? Yeah, hold on. I know this because did the mother go to the precinct and say, "Listen, the grandfather is D." I'm going to say D. Why
Are you sure? Is that your final answer?
Final answer.
Final answer?
Yeah.
Are you positive?
Yeah.
Are you positive that you need the D?
Yep, I do. D, it is. Yep.
You are absolutely correct. It was his grandfather was Vito Marzullo. Vito was the alderman in Chicago. He was the second highest ranking official in Chicago. He had a lot of power, a lot of political power, and is probably the reason why Rossi was never charged in connection with anything around the Gacy case. Now, the truth is that Rossi for sure procured some of the men and brought them to Gacy. It is also very, very, very likely that Rossi killed several of the men himself, and that it may not have been John that killed several of them. There were several people that were choked to death by having things shoved down their throat, socks and things like that. That was not really in Gacy's MO, but there were several bodies that were found that way. So, there's always been this thought that maybe it was a collaborative effort, that they were raping these men together, very much like Dean Coral was doing. And so if that's the case, that Rossi was actually there, he may have had a very, very large hand in the murders and also burying the bodies. So, we'll never know if that's the case. Now, the truth is that, David Cram committed suicide 10 or so years ago. But Michael Rossi is still alive, lives down in Florida. So, I don't know. He's the only one that would know for sure what he did and what his involvement was and what may or may not have happened there. But no, he's not. He's not talking for sure.
See what Mary's missing? Mary. You see.
That's it. I don't know where she's at. I think she might have fell asleep because she hasn't even been on. I haven't even got a message yet saying that, oh my God, I'm late. So I don't know where she's at.
I can't see this from here. So you're in the show. I have a chat, comment, and the stage. I guess I'm in blue.
Oh, what is that?
Snowing by you? You have
What's
snow?
that?
Do you have snow?
No, not yet. Thank God. Did
Oh.
you guys get hit up there?
No, I'm on Long Island. No,
Oh
I'm in
yeah, yeah.
Buffalo snow.
I,
Although I can't find my buffalo hat, or else I would be wearing it. So
so I'll be in Chicago this weekend. And next week, next Tuesday, for all of you that are going to check this out later and see this, next Tuesday we have Michael L. Hawley who will be on, and that's one that Mary is not going to want to miss because it is the Jack the Ripper episode, and so she better be on here with all of her questions and all of her stuff, and she better come packing because Michael Hawley has got his shit together. I got to tell you, we did that interview a couple weeks ago now, or a week and a half ago, or whatever. Oh, yeah, it was the last time we did this, so 2 weeks ago exactly. Or no, that was the Berlanger episode. I did Hawley a couple days after that. We did it, but anyway, a week and a half ago or so. But that interview, yeah, I think he's got me convinced. I think I think I agree with him. I'm waiting because I'm going to get both of his books and read them because I'm interested in some more evidence that he has. But man, some of the stuff that he told me is really, really compelling. Like it almost doesn't make sense if it's not the case.
So the gauntlet is down, Mary.
Yeah, she needs to come packing with all of her ideas about who it could be, and it's funny because I talked to her about it after that, and she said, "Well, I didn't say that it was the royal family." I was like, "Yes, you did. You were talking that." And
Yes,
she said, "Well, maybe not. Maybe it was." She said it was just definitely not a woman. So I don't know.
Great.
I know. She better come ready. You better come prepared next week. It's gonna be unmerciless if she's not ready to rock.
She's not here to Did you ping Cindy also?
I did. I sent a bunch of people messages.
So you didn't like any of my, I'm not going to say my ideas because just out of respect for everybody. What did you think of that I sent you on true crime stuff?
What was it?
It was serial killer of the month.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I thought that was good. I think so. Here's the thing. As the podcast grows and we get more people engaged on here, and there are people commenting and liking it and sharing it and subscribing, I think that's something that we move to because we'll have some kind of bonus stuff that people can subscribe to, and t-shirts and all of that shit. But we got to get to a place where we've got enough people that are subscribing that it makes sense. Like as soon as we can get some things monetized, and we're not far from there, really. I think right when you get to around 100 subscribers, they start pushing you into the monetization, and that's a nice place to be. I had a buddy of mine when I was doing Murder Metal Mayhem. They were doing like $3,000 or $4,000 a month in their monetization. And I'm like, man, if I could do that, that would be incredible. But I mean, they had already been at it for like 4 or 5 years at that point before they ever got to that place. But he did a really great job of getting all that stuff moving. So I'm trying out different things, seeing how it goes. I need to really be more focused in pushing these lives so people can get on. But of course, when I did the Dorsch episode, I didn't know that I was going to be doing this yet. So it wasn't until like the Hawley episode, I talk about the live that's going to happen the following week. And so I think that'll help out a bunch. I think the Jack the Ripper episode will be pretty popular. So I think we'll have a lot of people wanting to comment in, and I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how that goes.
And they want us. They're coming also to see us, and
yeah.
And now, has Cammie watched any of the podcasts?
I think so. I know that she was here 2 weeks ago doing the trivia and stuff with us. Okay. But I'm pretty sure that she's been following the podcast, and we've had a good uptick, and I think as next year starts and I'm doing all the conventions, I've got a few incentives for people to go and subscribe. So I think we'll get an uptick in that. I'm going to really start that in Chicago this weekend. So I'll have a little bit more about that next week, I think.
So if who else does Danielle? I want all the people that we've played trivia with the last few years. Tell me what you think of a T-shirt that says "I'm going with the D."
I love that T-shirt for sure.
You all know what I'm talking about.
That is a perfect shirt. That's for sure going to be one of them. I won't say that I've already done a design, but I have. So,
I thought the funniest thing. But anyone that's played trivia with us, or who would like to play trivia with us in the future, you got to do it. So much fun.
Oh yeah.
And look, I never saw Goodfellas, so if I could do it, you can do it. Which means you learn, right?
For sure.
I watched every single and listened to the podcast because sometimes I'm doing other things, and I'll rewatch it or re-listen. But I listened and I got 3 out of 5 right, or 4 out of 5.
That's it. Well, I don't know. We did like 6 or 7. I think you did about 50%.
Okay.
I think.
I'll take that. It's better than mine. And Mary.
Yeah. So I know. So one of the things I want to, I know it hasn't come up yet because I think there's still, the trial is probably 6-7 months away or whatever. But the Huerman trial is going to be coming up. And so before we get off of here, of course, that's right down the road from you.
Yeah, it is.
So I think that I want to do a little bit more research, and maybe next week when we talk about Jack the Ripper, or 2 weeks from now when we do the recap on that, we'll talk about the Huerman stuff. But I mean, I think that they have him dead to rights. I think that guy is going down. I think he probably did all 13 because I think that they have still only charged him with the 4. I don't think that they've charged him with more than that, but I know that they are doing a lot to gather evidence. I know they went back into the house and went back into the basement and they found more stuff. So, I'm wondering what that's all going to come out and look like. But man, they've got phone calls. They've got all kinds of stuff on him right now. I'll be interested to see what comes out at trial.
Are they letting
because
the trial? Or are they?
I don't know.
Because if they are, I'll go and I'll do a live from there for you.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. It's going to be a crazy case because you figure that's been going on.
Yeah.
And he'll be one of the few, I think, serial killers that you'll find in the 20s, right? The last one that we saw that got caught like that was Golden State, right? The Golden State Killer. I think that was like in 2018. So that's not that long ago when that happened. And that was because of a book and a podcast that really pushed that to getting him caught. And now we have Long Island that is very similar. There's a lot of similarities in a lot of other serial killer cases. And I think that he is, I think they got him.
Do you know where this trial is going to take place? Is it going to take place in Nassau or in Suffolk?
I don't know.
Oh my God. I
don't know.
Like 10 minutes from me. I can wait
Huh.
online and I'll do live from Nassau, from what's the Garden City, real Mineola, and then you could, or you could come here. We could do
That would be fun. I haven't been. I don't think that I have anything currently in New York. But I'll be like I got to go to Philly. I've got to go to Baltimore again, Washington, this next year in 2025. But let's see.
this could put us over the map, us doing the Huraman trial.
So, okay. So the last thing that was posted about Huraman was that the defense was back in court and they asked for a change of venue. So,
Where though? Where would they? Like no.
I don't know. I'm looking.
So anywhere. Okay, so then, all right. It would be Suffolk, Nassau, Brooklyn, Manhattan. I mean, where else would you go? You can't go into New York then. Where you go?
So here you go. The next court date is set for December 17th.
Oh, okay. That's
and they want to set a trial date at that time.
okay.
So they are.
Where is it? Is it in Nassau or in Suffolk?
I don't know yet. I haven't gotten that far. So the prosecutors are saying that they need more money. So they seized 400 electronics.
How?
The police did. Holy shit.
Where are there 400? Just what do you have in your house?
I don't know. They said that they have 120 terabytes of evidence that they're going through.
Oh my God. That's a lot.
Wow. That's a lot. Let's see.
They'll need more time unless they have like 25 people helping them.
Okay, so
what are they looking for? Just the same kind of, well, they're not going to let us know because.
Yeah. But they said they're looking for a change of venue. It doesn't. Oh, okay. So it was supposed to be in Suffolk.
Okay.
And the defense is claiming that the jury pool in Suffolk has been poisoned and they want to move it somewhere else. So I don't know. I don't know where that would be. That's what they're going on the 17th. They're going to go and ask for a change of venue, and they're going to try to set the trial date, is what it looks like.
So if they change the venue, are they allowed to change out of state? No, right? Because I don't know.
No, I think it would have to be there.
Well,
it would have to be in the state.
So then they wouldn't. If they can't do it in Suffolk, why are they doing it in Nassau? They wouldn't. So why would they? They can't do it in Manhattan. Where would they go? Westchester.
Let's see. Let's see what it says here.
They could do it in Westchester.
Let's see. Maybe not. Maybe they've already done the change of venue.
That was
Suffolk. Yeah, the Suffolk DA.
He said.
I don't know. It doesn't say. He says he appeared in court October 16th. But I wonder if that's when they asked for the change of venue on the 16th. But it doesn't say.
That's interesting, though.
So here you go. Huraman's attorney, Michael Brown, said he plans to seek separate trials for the 5th and 6th victims. So they're up to 6 at least now. Brown also announced plans to ask for a change of venue, joking that Mars is the only place that this case might receive a fair trial.
Real fun. Let's make fun with judge over dead people. There you go.
Yeah.
And they don't have a choice. I mean, really. Where is he being held? Is he being held out in Suffolk? Not that I'm.
I don't know where he's being held. I did just read it. I'm not sure.
Since I'm really not.
Let's see. Let me look up where Rex is right now.
He's huge, right? What is he, like 6'7"?
Oh yeah. He's a big dude. Let's see. It doesn't say here. Suspect in custody.
Is he in protective custody? I mean, no offense, but he's 6'7". Is he 6'7"? Why does he need to be in? Oh, well, obviously, stupid question. I guess
yeah. All right. Let's see here. The timeline. 24. He was indicted on January 16th. See, it doesn't say in here because he's not convicted yet. It's not saying. Well,
we should definitely cover him.
Oh yeah, for sure. Okay, that's how they caught him. So where is he being held?
It would have to be Haven. I don't know if there's any. Wait, so the Stony Brook? No. I'm not really into like jails, so.
Okay, he's currently being held at Riverhead Correctional Facility in Suffolk.
Okay, that's far.
So that's where he's at right now. They said that he's in a 60 square foot cell with a bunk, toilet, sink, and a plastic mirror.
He doesn't seem the type himself because I don't think he thinks he did anything wrong. Where's his family? Where did the wife go? Do you know?
I don't know, but they moved out of the house. I saw that just recently. They moved out and decided that. But you know, when something like that happens, it's the same thing with Richard Allen. When he was arrested, they had to move and get out of there because the whole town turned against him. And you know, but you know, I don't think that Richard Allen did it, but you know, that doesn't change the fact that when you're accused and now convicted of killing 2 children, you know, the town is not going to be favorable whether you did it or not. So,
and what about Huerman's kids? There's a son and a daughter, right? Or just the daughter?
Yeah. I don't know how old they are, though.
They're older. They're in their 20s, right?
I don't know. They might be. So, I don't know. All right. Well, there we go. I think you should go and do some good old Pokemon. Got to go catch them all. We're going to catch. Make sure you go and like and subscribe, share, comment, do all that stuff. Make sure everybody gets to see this live. And next week, next Tuesday at 3 p.m., the new episode of True Crime Myths, Legends, and More will be dropping on all of the podcast platforms. And it will be Dr. Jack the Ripper with Michael L. Hawley. And I'm really excited for you guys to hear that episode. It is incredible. A lot of us, Jack the Ripper is kind of what got us interested in the whole true crime thing anyway. So make sure you check out that episode. Keep your pens close by and write things down so that you can get on here live with us the week after that, and we can discuss it.
And don't forget about the Christmas episode. It's a very epic one.
So yes, December is going to be fun. The 2 weeks after that, we have Jeff Berlanger on Christmas Eve. That episode will be dropping, and he'll be talking about Krampus and like holiday folklore. And then on Christmas Eve evening at about, 7, 8 p.m., Santa Jeff is going to be going live, and we're going to do some creepy Christmas Eve stories live. So make sure you tune in for that. I may or may not be dressed up in my Santa suit.
Or your Satan suit. No, just kidding.
Yeah. So I have a Santa suit that is literally covered in blood. So, so you can bet that I'm going to be wearing that. Should be a lot of fun. I've already got a bunch of stories ready to go, and we'll get on there. I'll tell you some creepy bedtime stories before.
Man.
What's that?
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. All right, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Like, subscribe, share, do all that shit. And we will see you in a couple weeks.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.